Okay, folks, so I'll go ahead and jump straight into the demo. Today, we're going to be showing you how to use the MGT platform, why it's a great resource for you and for your policyholders. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. We should be seeing the MGT website here. That's correct, right, guys?
That's right.
Awesome. Great, folks. So you'll see here I'm signed in as Annalise. This is a demo environment. So all the information you see here is just going to be fake information, but everything about the functionality that I'm going to show you today is how it is for the website, for yourself, and for your policyholders. So I'm going to go ahead and start and say, I've signed in as an agent. You'll see here I've got a welcome message just letting me know where we have availability. And if you wanted to follow this link right here, it'll give you more information about MGT's appetite and what is within our appetite. It's really easy here at MGT. We like to say that you can get through a quote within 5 to 10 minutes, depending on its complexity. And so we're going to go ahead and start and jump in straight into start a quote. So one great thing we've done is we've used technology so that you don't have to remember business codes anymore. You can kind of go off keywords. So if I type in doctor's office, it's going to start bringing me in different kinds of doctor's offices here. If let's say I have salons, another one that's kind of general, I type in salon, so to give me various types of salons. One great thing here is that we want to be ease of use. So we want to give you quotes as quick as possible, and we want to let you know if something's out of appetite as quick as possible so that you can use your time wisely. So you'll see here I've selected tanning salon, and there's this message right here that says this class is currently ineligible for this program. So at any time throughout the quoting process, if you get this red message, that's kind of your cue to understand that this is not within MGT's appetite. You can kind of take this quote elsewhere. So I want to be really efficient up front for you folks and really protect that time. So I'm going to jump into this quote for something that we've just found success in, and that is going to be farm and garden supply stores. So this is a great kind of exposure that we've released recently, and we're going to go ahead and start typing in an address. One thing we've also done here is we use Google Maps addresses. So you'll start typing the address, you can select the address from the drop down, and then it's going to associate the quote to that specific address. You'll see here to the right, we have business description. This is a quick reference for you to just double check that we're starting the quote in the right business code. So if this doesn't align with the type of business that you're quoting, you'll want to go ahead and select a different sort of class to make sure we're selecting the right class. So we're going to get this quote started, and you'll see here to the right the Google Maps that I mentioned here. This is going to be kind of a good preliminary tool to make sure that you're quoting the correct business. If you were doing property coverage, you want to just take a quick preliminary look and make sure that everything looks good, make sure there's no holes in the roof or big old cracks in the cement. And so for this quote, I'm going to select that I do want building coverage because we want to make sure that this business is covered. And then I'm going to select that there's no residentials within the unit and there's no construction happening. So that's a couple of things to know about MGT. There's to be no construction within the policy within 12 months. And then we'll click go. And that's how we get a quote started here at MGT. You're going to select the business class, the address, a couple quick questions, and then we're going to jump into a 4-step quoting process. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to back out and jump straight into a quote that I've already filled out the information. But you'll see here, it's the same business that I was selecting, Southwest Gardens. Oops. So this is the 4-step process I was just mentioning. The screen that we just saw was this one right here, the basics about your business organization, about your organization. So here we've already captured the address. We're going to go ahead and ask for some more information about the business phone number, website, gross sales. We're going to ask about the business owner. You want to make sure that you have a business owner's phone number, making sure that if we need to get in contact with the business owner, we have the most up-to-date phone number here. You can insure up to 4 locations on a policy. For this policy, I'm just going to select the 1 location, but that's good to know. And then we're going to go ahead and jump into step 2. So you'll see here, this process is pretty quick. We're just going to be capturing kind of standard application information. What type of business structure does it have? When do we want this coverage to begin? Number of employees, things of that nature. And then we'll continue. So then we're going to jump into a little bit more about the business location. So since I did select business, I selected property coverage for this quote, it's going to ask me questions about the property coverage. But let's say you've gotten to this point and you realize, actually, I don't need property coverage. Instead of starting a quote all over, you can change this quote to business personal property contents only quote. So it's a quick little tool that we've done just in case you find, oops, I don't need building coverage. I just want to move forward the BPP only quote. You can do that at this step. So for this quote, I did select that I had the roof was updated in the last 15 years. I selected these sorts of coverages that we want. If you see right here, there's question marks. If you're ever unsure about what we're asking or if this applies to, you can use this tooltip right here and it's going to give you information about what it is we're asking. And then right here is another cool tip that we've had. If you're doing building coverage, we've kind of inserted a sort of calculator so that you can determine how much coverage is necessary for this quote. So for this guy, I just put it maybe just a couple $100 over. And then we're going to go ahead and click continue. So you'll see here, I'm moving through this pretty quickly, but as long as you have the business information, the quote process is this simple.
Hey,
We ask,
Annalise,
yeah,
quick question. Can you talk a little bit about the total insured value?
yeah, let me go back.
Which I'm happy to answer as well if you like. I
Yes,
just
if you, yep, go ahead. This right here.
yeah. What can we do per location TIV?
Could you actually answer that? I don't want
Yeah,
to
yeah, of
misspeak.
course. So we can do up to 2 million per location total insured value, and we can do. Correct me if I'm wrong. We can do 4 locations per policy, right? So it's a really great question, and I appreciate you helping highlight this, Annalise, because it's something that we definitely stand out with our competitors. And so yeah, sorry to interrupt you mid flow, but I thought it was a great question.
No, not a problem. Definitely interrupt with any questions necessary. So, yep, thank you, Jason, for covering that. Alrighty, so we're actually going to jump into the additional insured. So this is something that you can add throughout the quoting process if you already know that you have additional insureds. It's something you can also add after the quoting process by getting in contact with us. So this isn't a self-service additional insureds, but if you know it up front, you can add it straight into the quote. So you'll see here that I did select an additional insured. I did do for leased equipment. And then we're going to go ahead and click continue. So what we try to do while we're getting through this quote is we're trying to gather all the information that we find necessary to give you the best quote possible, the best bindable quote possible. That's our goal, is to get you a bindable quote at the end of this process. So as a farm supply store, I did select hired non-owned auto. These are other options, optional coverages that you can select here, or you can select no coverages. For this one right here, for the hired non-owned auto use, we're just going to ask some more information, making sure that your employees have the correct amount of insurance and making sure that they're not driving more than 50 miles, making sure it's just really local. And then at that point, I've imported all the information in the 4-step quoting process. So we're going to go ahead and select see your quote. I know that since I have an additional insured, the next page is going to ask me for a little bit of more information about that additional insured before I get to the quote. Oops, no, it didn't. When I click continue, it's going to do that. So right here, this is the quote that we have here for this farm supply store. One thing I want to highlight is all these numbers that we provide for you here are numbers that we've suggested for the coverage for the quote. But if you find that you want to increase, let's say we want to increase the medical, we want to increase the outdoor signs because they have a lot of outdoor signs, we can make these adjustments here. Maybe I want to increase my deductible as well. What you can do is you can recalculate the quote. All these numbers that we're giving you are workable numbers. So we don't want to find an instance where we give you an option and then we reject the quote. All these numbers that you see here are workable. So this is the adjustment in price for the quote that I've just done. And you'll see here it's doing the property coverage and it's covering all of the information. Let's say this quote looks good and you decide, I want to get this over to the potential policyholder, or I want to have the policyholder take a look at it. You can print the quote right here, send it over to the policyholder so they can view it, make sure all the information is correct. But in the perfect scenario, let's say the policyholder loves the quote and they want to go ahead and bind it. You're going to go ahead and move forward to confirm and purchase. What's great about this confirm and purchase is that there's 2 options for you. Here's that additional insured that I mentioned information. So here, we're just going to capture a little bit more of the additional insured information for the quote before we go to purchase. Make sure we have everything correct. So I have John Deere here for my farm equipment. And I'm going to go ahead and continue. So going back to the billing, so there's two options that we have here. You can, one, send it to the prospect. What this does, it's going to send to the prospect, the potential policyholder, an email from MGT Insurance. It's going to prompt them to log into MGT Insurance, create account, and then they'll be able to purchase their policy. After the purchase is made, it is a bound policy. Or we can purchase it now. Let's say they're in your office or they're on the phone and you have their credit card information. We can purchase it now. This purchase flow that we're seeing here is going to be the same whether or not we purchase now or send to prospect. We're going to ask whether or not we want it to be paid annually or quarterly, the method of payment, credit card, e-check or debit card. And then in this window right here, we're going to capture the credit card information. Just to know that this is a third party that we use for payment. So all of the information is secured so that you and your policyholders can rest assured that we have all the security necessary. One thing I like to highlight here is that we have auto pay automatically selected, and that is for ease of use to make sure that we don't have any lapse in coverages or any lapse in billing. If you or your policyholder don't feel comfortable with that, that is not a problem. You can remove the auto pay, but it's important that you and your policyholders keep up with the email communications coming from MGT Insurance when a policy needs to be paid or when it needs to be renewed. If auto pay is not selected, it is possible that it could cancel if emails are ignored. So we just kind of want to do the auto pay. That's the preference. Then we're going to go ahead and see more information about the billing information. So who's the contact information? Again, contact phone number is really important for whatever reason we need to get in contact with the policyholder on your behalf. Having this number here is important. And then the organization email address, and then we'll click agree and we'll submit the payment. And so that is pretty much how you get a policy to bind here at MGT Insurance. It's a 4-step quoting process, a payment option. So I'm going to go ahead and select Save My Progress here and show you what it looks like on the policyholder side after we've bound a policy.
While you're doing that, we had a really great question from KJ. Do you offer any coverage for employment businesses? And we do, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So we, as part of our BOP, we absolutely have that in Appetite. So yeah, hop on in and quote it. We would love to write that with you.
Awesome. Thank you for that question. So we'll see here that I just was in the quotes tab. So all the quotes as an agent that I have here live under the quotes tab. And as an agent, you have a policies tab. And so when you get a quote to bind, it moves over to your policies tab here and you can manage it. So right now we're going to be talking about managing a policy. And as an agent and as a policyholder, you both have access to view this self-service. So this is where we really want our policyholders to feel in control of their policy here at MGT Insurance. This is their insurance policy. They should be able to get their certificates of insurance. They should be able to read their policy and get the documents that they need. So we'll jump right here into this documents and communication section. If your policyholder says they need their declarations page, they need a certificate of insurance, push them to the self-service. They are in control of that here, so they can go ahead and do that here. You'll see here also in the communications here, any communication that's happened between MGT and the policyholder is going to live in this area. So if let's say they want to make sure they got their welcome message or their payment receipt, if they can't find it in their email, they can always come back to their self-service portal and view the communications here with MGT Insurance. I'll move over to the account as a policyholder. Maybe sometimes they have changes within their account. They have the treasurer changes or they get a new phone number. Under their profile section, they can make those updates here. So for the contact information, if we need to change the contact information, policyholder can do that here. The email changes could also be done here. And if they need to reset a password for whatever reason and they're already logged in, all that is done within the self-service portal. So always feel encouraged to send your policyholders to their MGT self-service portal. And the last area within self-service is payments. So if they need to, for whatever reason, make changes to the payment method, let's say the card expired, that is done within payments, payment method, and we want to select update payment method here. It's going to prompt you to put in the new card information, and then it will update it here. You can change whether or not it is annually or quarterly one time through the policy. So if you are in the policy quarterly and you decide I want to go annual after the second payment, you go to annual, but you cannot go back to quarterly. So it's just important to know there it is possible to change, but it can only be changed once through the policy term. I'm going to go back to payments and I'm going to go to pay my bill. So if you're on a quarterly or yearly payment, you'll be able to see the information here about the billing. So for this policy, it is annual. You'll see here that it was paid back in April, and the next payment, there's no payment due now. When payment or renewal is coming up, this information is going to change depending on the term. So if it's quarterly, it'll update every quarter for payment due. If it's annually coming close to the start of April, it's going to update with the renewal. So folks, that is what it looks like to have a policy within MGT Insurance. You're able to get into the platform, you're able to quote within 10 minutes, you're able to get a bindable quote at the end of the process. If for whatever reason a quote goes to referral, our underwriter has a queue and they'll be able to handle it in the order in which it comes in. If you make a quote today and you want to bind it for the next day, it's important. You can reach out to our underwriter. We provide that information within the quote process, but our team is always on it for speed. We want to get you these quotes and these policies as quickly as possible. So I know I went through that pretty quickly, but I just want to reiterate that you as an agent and your policy holder are really in control of your policies here at MGT Insurance. We built all this tech so that everybody feels enabled and in control of their policy. So again, my name's Annalise. I'm the support agent here at MGT Insurance. If you ever have any questions or concerns, you can get in contact with me or anyone on my team.
It's awesome. Thanks, Annalise. Some really great questions from the chat today too. Thank you to all the agents who attended. Had some really great questions. If you have any last minute ones, you can go ahead and sneak them in. Nice. You had that queued up and ready to go, didn't you?
I did.
Annalise just dropped all of our general contact information where you can get to her and the team. But yeah, I'll add in Dan and I's email address as well so that you can reach out to us directly too.
Oh, and one thing I wanted to note, we are in the month of May and we are running a really great incentive this month. So summer's right around the corner. And what we want to do, like I showed you with the ease of use at MGT Insurance, is we want to give you your time back. We want to make sure that you can do business quickly so that you can get outdoors and do the fun things that you like to do. So with one bound quote this month, you'll get a raffle ticket. With every 2 quotes following that, you'll get another raffle ticket. And at the end of the month, we're going to be raffling off 3 $500 baskets. And these are quality gift baskets, depending on what sort of outdoor activities you like. So if you need a new backpacking bag, you need a new camping grill, this is your opportunity to not only get some business done, but have the opportunity to win $500 worth of great prizes.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Excellent. And just one thing to add, we will do a drawing for those winners live the same time about a month from now, first week of June. So make sure you register for that as well. Should be a fun time. And whether it's a new backpack, maybe a new driver, maybe a fish tank and some cool stuff to put in there. Whatever you love to do, we're going to give you the time back in your day to do it, and then some gear to help have a really good time.
Like that. I wanna put some quotes in. I want a fish tank. Y'all, thanks so much for coming today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you all in the platform soon.